Okay, so I guess we are up and running. So what I want to do is I'm testing out this new streaming software because I want to do more lives with you guys and things of that nature. So, the best way just to test it out is actually go ahead and do it. So currently I'm on Facebook and also YouTube. So if you guys do chime in, feel free to put something in the chat or just to let me know that you guys are on here. Like I said, it's not late, but I'm pretty sure most people are just coming in or they're just watching TV or doing whatever. So I just wanted to get on here and test this out and basically check in with you guys and one, let you guys know what's been going on with me outside of the current videos that you are seeing because I do have a life outside of social media and things of that nature. But also just get to the point where if anybody wanted to join, chime in, uh, put a comment in there, only positive comments. I really don't have time for ignorant stuff today. You know what I'm saying? But there's always going to be one that puts something ignorant in the comments. So yeah, just kind of let you know what's been going on with me. More on the personal side of the house more than anything else. So uh one of the biggest things is I've been spending a ton more time with London. And for those who don't know, London is my 9-year old or whatever. Usually we put her in summer camp, but for other reasons, this time around we chose to not put her in all of the sessions. So with not her putting all in the sessions, been spending more time with her just to, you know, I know for a fact she hasn't had an active summer this summer because uh, there were a couple of things that prevented us from actually doing that. But it's amazing how she's developing in a sense. And I understand any parent out there, they say, I don't care how someone gets, how old they get, the child will always be their baby. That's how I look at it from my perspective. But she is, rapidly growing. One thing that sticks in my mind with her being 9, someone told me, man, in 9 years, she'll be 18. So in 9 years, she will be an adult, right? And, when I was younger, when we first had her, I was more making jokes like, oh, I can't wait till she moves out the house and things of that nature. But as your child gets older, and starts to gain her own independence, you hope that the connection will still be there as she gets older and uh, ventures off into new things. One of the jokes that her and I had today was, she when she goes to college, well, I'll be there at her dorm room every night. And of course, just to see what she says, I joked and said, "Yeah, I would," knowing I wouldn't, right? But just her independence and oh no, daddy, please don't do that. But in the midst of the conversation, she was saying, okay, she gets to hang out with her friends. But even before I say anything, I want to make sure that I get my work done first and things of that nature. So in a lot of instances, a lot of the stuff that my wife and I tell London, I don't think that she's listening, but in actuality, she is, right? And that's the only thing that you can ask for is hopefully whatever I instill in her, whatever my wife instills in her, she'll remember it and use it when she needs to use it. Because someone told me my biggest job as a father is to keep my daughter off of the pole, hands down, right? And for any parent out there who's a father, that's one of the biggest jobs that you have when it comes to your little girl. I think it's for little boys, keep them out of jail, and for little girls, keep them off the pole, which I firmly believe because, you know, how these kids nowadays, it's a different animal. It's a different animal. And, you can say they don't have the right guidance. They say they don't have the proper resources, which is totally understandable. But at the same time, these kids nowadays, they're going to be targets. They're going to be statistics. And that's one thing that, you know, I aim for any parent who's out there and trying to make sure that their kid is doing the right thing and trying their damnedest to be there for their kids, right? Every parent isn't a perfect parent, but on the other side of the coin, every parent isn't a deadbeat, right? There's a median when you have parents who are really trying to be a part of their child's life, but in some instances that may not be the case, right? But you know, being a parent isn't easy, or being a child isn't easy, right? So knowing that it's not easy on different spectrums, how do we come to a happy median and just continue to do our very best, right? Um, so that's one of the biggest things that's been going on during the summer. Also, unfortunately, we had a death in the family on my wife's side, which was very tragic. And the biggest piece for me is to, I know it's so cliche for people to say, okay, you just need to be there for people. But, to truly be there for someone, you to be there for someone when it comes to helping them get through, never get over, the death of someone, you have to buckle up for the roller coaster and be prepared for the roller coaster, right? Both the ups and the downs. And that's not only when it comes to death, that's with anything in life, right? So many people, especially on social media, they uh, the majority of people on social media is trying to position themselves as having the perfect life, right? Which is probably one of the biggest misconceptions because anyone that has a life worth living for is going to have challenges, good times and bad times. I think it's how you balance it and how you have good people around you, or even more importantly, let go of certain people to continue to navigate, right? No one has a perfect life, but hopefully everyone is deeming to, you know, have the very best life possible, right? And one of the biggest things I had to learn even through this process with my wife is, you know, there's so many people in this world. There's so many people in the city. There's so many people in your life right now, and everybody's going through something. Everyone. It can be the smallest thing in your world, but it can be the elephant in the room in someone else's life, right? But with things going on in people's lives, you want to you want to be sensitive of what's going on with the person's life. Not saying you have to be there all day, every day for them, but just truly understand and give them the grace and mercy that they will work through whatever they are going through. You know, and it's a lot of instances. The tough times bring the people closest together. Adversity is birth through. Well, excuse me. Bonds are birthed through adversity. Bonds are birthed through adversity. Whether you're in the trenches with your coworkers at work or you are going through a family challenge, the people that stick together and go through the process, those are the ones that truly care for you. And for me, what I had to learn is the people that you think are there for you and the people that you think that are in your corner, they may not be the right people to help you through that process. Now, we know if we've had friends and we stick close to people, you would think those are the individuals that'll help you get through the process. And some are, but especially in my life, I've had to understand that certain people were there for a specific reason or a specific lesson that I needed to learn, or in some instances, a lesson that they needed to learn. And then we get to the point where we still try to stay with them after the assignment has been completed. I'm going through that piece right now, to be fully transparent. And, you know, reason, season, lifetime, that's a true testament or whatever have you. But, you would always aim to have those relationships for a lifetime, even though they may have not been designed that way. And how you create and forge those lifetime relationships is, always treat people uh, with world class. Don't be used by people. Have boundaries and set the boundaries that you need to set, because you can be the closest of friends, but at the same time, you know what's best for you as an individual, right? And don't put on the responsibility of your friends to take on that weight when they may not been specifically designed to do that. It'd be good to have them there, right? But in some instances, that's not the case. And once again, that's one of the lessons that I'm learning through this particular season in my life. The people I thought that not what was designed for me by God. Some of the people that I thought that was going to be there, in actuality, they're not right now, or they have accomplished their mission for the relationship that we have, and they want to move somewhere else. Or sometimes we need to go apart to grow, And I have to look at it like, what levels am I not mature for my friends, on what some of the things that I need to work on for the friends that have, you know, parted ways, whether it's temporary, it's forever, or whatever. What do I need to learn, and how can I be a better friend when it comes to, um, the lessons that we've experienced? Who knows, right? So that's somewhat a big lesson for me, right? Even though um, I'm an expert in careers and business, I'm still a novice when it comes to the concept of friendships and relationships. And what I mean relationships, not only from a marriage perspective, from a friend perspective, from an acquaintance perspective, because one of my closest homies right now, and I'm not going to say his name, but one of the biggest lessons that I've had to learn from him right now, that he's finally, after so many years, and I've known him for about 20 years, he's finally made the decision to choose himself when it comes to certain situations. And I applaud him on that, because he's such a giving person that you would think that people who are so giving, well, those are the ones that will be protected the most. But unfortunately, the people who are the most giving are the ones that have been taken advantage of the most. It's weird, right? I've experienced it. Some of my closest people have experienced it, where you don't want to shell yourself in who you are, but you have to understand who is worthy of your friendship, who is worthy of, your willingness to give so much, especially to the point where they won't try to take advantage of it, right? We are living in a selfish world right now, where most people, even myself, and this is something that I need to course correct for me, I'm thinking that I need to be more selfish when it comes to stuff, because I believe in karma. I believe that I've been designed to be a giving person, but at the same time, I don't want to be continue to be used. You know, no one wants to be used and abused. Let me say it specifically because everybody's been put on this earth to be used in some way, shape, or form. I mean, if we go to work, we're being used for our talent and our time for a paycheck. But to be used and abused is something that ain't cool, right? But with my good buddy, he's gotten to the point where he's starting to make more moves for himself and for his better outcome than just going with the flow and making sure everybody else is good. And I knew for a fact that as he's going through this process, he's going to lose some people because when people are so used to who you are and you change, it becomes a problem to them, not to you, right? So, one of the best pieces of advice that I can give him while he goes through this process is, and this is for anybody who's thinking about changing any aspect of who they are. Okay. So if you're in the process of trying to change any aspect of who you are, trying to be more assertive, trying to be a better person, trying to be more nice, or whatever the case may be, I would advise you to give people the opportunity to introduce the new you to them. Give people that opportunity and see how they will respond and how they truly respond. In a perfect world, you would want people to accept you based off of the changes that you're trying to make for the better. But a lot of times that's not going to happen. People will stray away. People will try to convince you that you should not change, even though you know this change is for the better. Okay. But give all the people that's in your life or the people that you want to see this new change, give them the opportunity to be reacquainted to the new you or be acquainted to the new you, say, and see how they will respond, right? Because how they respond is truly how they were from the very beginning. I'll give you a prime example. So in 2019, right before the pandemic hit, I got to the point where I was reaching out to people entirely too much. I was giving too much of myself with people. And it got to the point where actually in December 31st, 2018, right before the new year hit, I made the conscious decision that I was going to stop reaching out to people, right? Because I was always the one initiating conversation. I was always the one checking in with people because I thought that was what a good friend or a good acquaintance or a good person is supposed to do, right? I had a culture shock because it got to a point where I stopped reaching out to certain people and the relationship died. And throughout 2019, and especially during 2020, it got to the point where I was conflicted because I wanted to go back to my old ways of always reaching out to people. But I had to realize if I didn't reach out to these individuals, was the relationship, friendship, or whatever, not relationship, because I mean, I'm married, but you guys understand what I'm saying. But was the situation, was it one sided? And if it was, whose fault was it? So the wake up call for me was I was watering a lot of dead plants and I was reaching out to people that really didn't, you know, they didn't even think of me in a situation or think and act. Because people can say all the time, well, I thought about you. And in some instances, thinking about is not enough. What actions are you doing? Right. So I was watering dead plants, but then I had to come to the realization that it was my fault. It was my behavior. I was the one to blame based off of the one-sided relationship because I didn't have enough what's the word? I wasn't conscious enough to say, well, you know what? I know for a fact that my friendships and my acquaintances, it should be two-sided. It shouldn't just me be reaching out. And, I felt some type of way about it, but it was the clarity that I needed to have to carry into 2021, 2022, 2023, and so on, right? Because then it helped me, instead of me watering these dead plants, one, who are the relationships or what were the relationships that were a two-way street that I can focus more on. And on top of that, what other things that I can do with my time as opposed to chasing down people. And if you're at that point right now, no harm, no foul, no judgment, but you're definitely gonna have to figure out, do you want to continue to water these dead plants? You can if you want to, but then you get to the point where you feel like you're drained and you're tired and you're bitter and things of that nature because the friendships aren't mutually beneficial. And I'm talking about real friendships. I'm not talking about social media friends, Instagram friends, TikTok friends. I am talking about genuinely human to human friendships, relationships, or whatever have you. We need to get out of the, oh, I got 3,000 or I got 1,000,000 followers or I got 13,000 or 5,000 friends. All of that is just vanity metrics, because you know who your real friends are? Your real friends are the people that will show up when you are in a bind. Or better yet, your real friends are the individuals that will stay by your side after you stop doing things for them selfishly. Okay. So in this day and age, if you have 5 good friends, consider yourself lucky. And I do consider myself lucky. May have a lot of acquaintances and things of that nature, but the amount of quote unquote friends you think you have will never help you with your soul. It'll never help you to feel good. These individuals will never be there for you in a bind, right? So I say all that to say, if you are in a situation where you feel like you're watering dead plants, take a step back. Why don't you be a friend to yourself as opposed to reaching out to individuals that possibly don't give a damn about you, or reach out to you only when they need something? Thus, when that change happens and when individuals are introduced to the new you, study how they act, observe what they're doing, and then move accordingly. So because the individuals that fall out of your life, there are other individuals, probably even more valuable individuals, that will fall in. Let those individuals that value you and care for you and love you and will be there for you, let them be in your circle. Let them take up your space, take up your time, and things of that nature. Because watering, the only thing that you're going to get is watering dead plants is a wet ground at the end of the day. And you don't want that. I wouldn't want that for you. For the most part, I wouldn't want what I went through, even though I came out on the better side. I don't want anybody to be a good person and wasting their time on people who will not reciprocate the same type of energy or even just the same type of care. Caring for somebody doesn't cost a thing, right? And a lot of things, well, a lot of things that people will consider someone to be a friend isn't that, right? So definitely be mindful of that, right? So I hope this served you well. I hope you got something from it. Once again, I just want to pop on here and test out this camera, but obviously we just testing out this camera and this streaming platform. Hopefully the message resonated with someone, right? So you guys have a good night. Take care, and I'll just catch you guys on the flip side. Later.